This is Sports Drive.
Let me turn that on. Everybody, welcome back into Sports Drive. Joining us now from the Canyon Lady Eagles softball team, Kamryn Jackson, fresh off of a win against Fabens to advance in the playoffs. Kamryn, thanks so much for taking the time. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, I do want to just start off the bat with that. I mean, you look at what you guys were able to do in the first 8 innings of that series. You guys outscore Fabens 37-0, which is just astonishing, really, since that first game of the playoffs where you guys had a bit of a close matchup. These last 3 have just been incredible performances from the team. Talk to me about the role that you guys are on to start the playoffs.
Yes. Well, going into this week, we didn't really know too much about Fabens, so we just knew that we had to come in and do what we knew how to do and do our jobs. And luckily, we were able to start off good early on and just build on that.
Were you even a little bit surprised by the success that you guys were able to have over the course of these last 2 and really these last 3 games, and just how much of a blowout these games have been?
No, really, because we know we're capable of doing what we're capable of doing, and so we know that if hitting is contagious, and that we just need to start it off and just pass the bat when we start, and yeah.
And, how important is it for you guys, just in terms of closing these games out, or these series out so quickly? You talk about, these opponents and not necessarily knowing, what's laying on the other side, having, limited resources in terms of scouting them, and you guys just jumping on them early and getting out to these big leads. How do you guys avoid, coming into these games too relaxed, or thinking that, oh, it's going to be easy, we don't really need to put that much effort in, and you guys are just able to jump out to these big leads and just take care of business?
We just have the mindset going into it that we have to win every game from now on, of course, to keep playing in the playoffs, and that just having these big blowout wins helps really build our confidence and helps us going into each week.
What's the atmosphere just been like around the team, in the dugout while you guys are up by this much? I imagine it's kind of, it's kind of maybe a little bit relaxed, a little bit celebratory, knowing that, you guys have a pretty sizable lead in these games and are pretty excited to be, advancing in the playoffs and playing as well as you are.
Yeah, I think as a team, we've always had a bunch of energy, and we play off of having a lot of energy really well. And so we always try to cheer on our teammates when they're in the dugout as loud as we can. And sometimes when you get a big lead, it's really hard to stay focused and not think oh, we're fine, we're up by this much. So we just really try to stay focused as much as we can so we can keep just adding on to the lead.
Well, it's exciting, as you guys, mentioned 4-0 in the playoffs so far, advancing. Now you guys are the area champs, and the potential next round of returning to a district opponent that you're kind of familiar with. We'll have to see how their series plays out. They still have some work to do, but it could be a matchup with Pampa, which is a team that you look back just a few weeks ago, you guys had a very close matchup with. It was an incredible pitching duel for you guys between, Kylie Knowles and Kirby over at Pampa. What do you remember about that game specifically in terms of the kind of challenge that Pampa presents as a team?
When we played Pampa, I think that's always a pretty close game. They always play us pretty tough. And the pitching that game was really solid, and it was just back and forth the whole time. It was really close. And in the end, we pulled through and got the win. But if we end up facing them next round, I think that's going to be really exciting. And it's good to know that we already know a bunch about them. They know a lot about us. So it's really just we decided to perform. And
how cool would it be for you guys to get to face a district opponent and get to, spark that rivalry back up in the playoffs? I imagine from one standpoint, it's just fun to get to face a rival in the playoffs. From another standpoint, I imagine it'll be nice not to have to travel 4 hours away for the playoff game next week.
Yes, super nice. Yeah, I think that if we do end up playing Pampa, it's going to be really good, and we'll be super excited about it. And it's a really big rivalry for us, because in the past few years they've been. Our district this year has been really solid, 1 through 4, the top 4 seeds. there wasn't really much of a difference. Like, everyone this year was so good. So I think that series could be really exciting for us, and we're pretty excited about it.
From the team standpoint, as you guys are watching these results, will you guys be pulling for Pampa this round in hopes that you get to face them in the next round, or does it not really matter to you guys?
And it doesn't really matter, but I think it would make for a really exciting matchup if it was Pampa. So I think maybe secretly it might be pulling for them so we can try to beat them 2 more times, hopefully. But we'll just have to see how it plays out, I guess.
And then, just looking at things from the bigger picture, obviously, as we mentioned, you guys moving on to the playoffs again and performed so well so far. You have an idea maybe of what's coming next if it's Pampa. Clint, obviously, is a little more unfamiliar, but you're getting a clearer picture of what that road potentially to going to the state tournament could look like for you guys. And you mentioned earlier just the confidence that the team has right now. How are you guys feeling about your chances to make a real run at this thing and hopefully go to the state tournament?
I think we know that if we do what we know how to play and that we perform, that we have a pretty good chance of getting really far. And a lot of us last year in the playoffs, but we know that last year's in the past, and this is a new team with new people playing this year. So we just need to carry our confidence over from these big wins and carry it on to each game and play like it's our last, and that we have to win if we want to keep playing.
All right, well, Kamryn Jackson from Canyon High School softball, once again, a 15-0 win yesterday, 22-4 today to close out Fabens and get the area championship. Kamryn, thanks so much. We appreciate you taking the time once again. Congratulations on the win, and best of luck to you guys moving forward. And I know it doesn't matter to you guys, but I can tell you personally, I'm hoping for a Canyon-Pampa matchup. That one would be more exciting for me, so that's the one that I'm hoping that we end up getting. So anyway, best of luck. As I said, have a safe rest of the trip home. We'll be right back to close things out on Sports Drive after the break.